Back in 2001, a game called Ico emerged on the PS2 and made a quiet little splash in the world of video games. Aside from being an excellent action-adventure puzzle game in its own right, Ico showed that games didn't need extensive voice acting, lavishly produced cutscenes, or even dialogue to tell a thoroughly moving story. It proved that gameplay itself could be an effective storytelling tool. Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons is one of the very few games I've played since then that manages to capture the same storytelling magic that Ico had 12 years ago. Developed by Starbreeze Studios, Brothers is a twin-stick action-adventure game that has the player controlling two siblings simultaneously. The left stick and shoulder button control the big brother, while the right stick and shoulder button control the little brother. It's a control scheme that surely will cause your brain to go haywire at times, but fortunately the gameplay never requires all that much precision. The game's story is a simple one, but one that's expertly told and packed with heart. The game opens with the siblings' father taking ill. After wheeling him back to their house, the doctor tells them that the only cure to save their dad rests on a giant tree far away in a distant land. Without hesitation, the two sons embark on a journey to save their dad, the only family that they have left besides each other. At this point, I should also say that this story is told without any real dialogue. The characters speak in a sort of gibberish language that only they understand. It's an effective style that engages the player by letting them fill in the blanks and project their own vision of what the characters are feeling or saying. The real character development in the game is done through gameplay. Each brother has their own unique interactions with the environment that shed a little light on what kind of person they are. The older brother's interactions are generally those of a responsible teen who helps his elders with chores, is very polite, and is fiercely protective of his younger brother. The little brother, on the other hand, is your typical adolescent brat, loving to pull pranks, spit in the community wells, and show off the considerable musical talent that his brother hilariously lacks. The addition of these interactions is such a small thing, but it goes a long way in making the player feel emotionally attached to the characters. One fun example is when you need to get a sleepy old man to lower a bridge. When the older brother tries to politely get his attention, the man simply shoos him away and goes back to sleep. But when the younger brother interacts with him, he takes a nearby bucket of water and dumps it over his head while laughing heartily. Now that he's wide awake, the older brother can talk to him again and get him to lower the gate. There's a great feeling of camaraderie between the two siblings that other story-based co-op games strive for, but few ever really achieve on the same level as brothers. They rely on each other both emotionally and physically. One of my favorite recurring elements of the game is the fact that the younger brother can't swim, likely as a result of having to watch his mother drown before his very eyes. So, in order to get past certain areas, the younger brother must grab onto the older brother and be ferried across. Over the course of the game, there were times when the two brothers were suddenly thrown into a river, and I let out an audible gasp because I completely forgot that the younger brother couldn't swim. The gasp wasn't because I thought I might have to replay a checkpoint, it was because I didn't want the younger brother to die because of my negligence. Despite taking many cues from both Ico and Limbo, Brothers is comparatively rather light on the puzzles. The puzzles that do exist are very simple in nature and likely won't take much more than a simple glance to figure out. That being said, while they won't tax your mind very much, the puzzles in Brothers are fantastic for what they actually have your characters do and the emotional response that they elicit. In one chapter, the brothers must navigate their way through a bloody battlefield of fallen giants, and the only way to progress is to find ways to mutilate the giants' corpses to forge a path through the river of blood. Yeah, things tend to take a turn for the surprisingly dark in Brothers. There's a ton of variety in Brothers' 7 chapters. Aside from the aforementioned battlefield, you'll make your way through caves, giant castles, dark forests filled with man-eating wolves, arctic rivers, and more. The downside to all of this though is the price. The game currently has a $15 price tag on the Xbox Live Marketplace for what is ultimately a 3 to 4 hour experience with little reason to come back to it. It's a hell of an experience to be sure, but I can't help but wish there was something extra in the package, like a commentary track or something. I'd be fascinated to learn more about some of the inspirations for this game. The themes and ideas explored in Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons are not new to video games, but very rarely are they executed upon as well as they are here. As a game, Brothers disappoints a little with its overly simple puzzles, short runtime, and low replay value. But as an experience, It dazzles with an emotional story, endearing characters, beautiful visuals, and a soundtrack to match. Whether or not you pick the game up should depend on what is more important to you, the game or the experience.